Hey guys, Brian with Buffalo Beer Reviews, back with, like a New Year's Eve sort of, I'm around the house and I've got a couple of beers lined up and I figured I would throw one onto video because I haven't done a beer review in a little while, besides the home brewing videos. I came across myself being in Alma the last couple of days, and I swung by East Aurora to Aurora Brew Works, and I grabbed this last night, and it was from Troegs, and it's their Wild Elf. And this is their Pennsylvania Wild Ale. Ale brewed with cherries and honey, bottled in 2017. A little bit of information from the side of the bottle. Alcohol by volume, 11%. Fruit, cherries, Balaton cherries. Oak is French, American, and Hungarian. Fermentation is house ale, Brett, lacto, and Pedic, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses on. It says, grown from deep roots, courtesy of our oak foeders, and pure local flavor derived from wild yeast that rode in to the brewery on the backs of the Pennsylvania Harvest Balaton cherries. Based on the Mad Elf recipe, Wild Elf goes through a long secondary fermentation in wood barrels, unveiling tart cherry pit and farmhouse bliss. This bottle-conditioned limited release is highly carbonated and comes to life when the cork pops. That's from the bottle. I'm looking at Untapped, and it doesn't really have much else. It says goes through a long secondary process. We add tart Balaton cherries from nearby Peter's Orchard, and the wild yeast and bacteria that hitchhike on the skins of the cherries adds layers of lemon, white peppercorn among the vanilla and oak. So let's see what this thing's all about, you know what I mean? I love the basket, the champagne cork, the basket corked sort of bottles. Some of these wild ales are highly carbonated. It seems like they pop to life, and then you are left over with like this little residual thin sort of head. Do you know what I mean? But let's see if this thing doesn't explode on me. You know what I mean? Not bad, not bad. Let's see what this thing looks like in the glass. Woo! I'm going to leave some room for my nose. You know, my only experience with wild ales is with Big Ditches. And so I was kind of thinking it was going to be a little bit lighter in color. But again, I have to remember that it's based on Mad Elf. You know what I mean? But again, this is Troegs, and this is Wild Elf, the 2017 version. And you can see it's almost like this very dark sort of apple cider sort of vibe to it, almost like a watered down tea or a coffee. Do you know what I mean? Whoa. Wow. It smells amazing, actually. It smells almost cologne-like. It's got this full and vibrant sort of history backbone to the aromas. Do you know what I mean? But it's all sorts of tart cherry. It's all sorts of that sweet, wild, soury tartness. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and way off the back end, you can really appreciate that vanilla vibe, vanilla in the way of the oaky woodness. Really nice. I'm expecting that this is going to be very common sort of themes that we're going to be describing with the flavors and stuff like that, and how they marry with one another. But let's see how this thing goes. There's like I said, not a whole lot of carbonation. It seems to be maybe a little bit of floaters in there. You know what I mean? Oh. Wow. There's a nice sort of appropriate coupling between those aromas and what you're going to get on your first sip. I was really kind of bracing myself for something different, but it's strangely familiar. It's got this nice tart and tart thin sort of sour vibe. that leads very easily, drinkably, into this nice body of cherries. Like an earthy cherry tart body. Man, very nice. There seems to be like an overall woody oak sort of vibe when you're drinking, when you're quaffed up into your sinuses. Vanilla-y, woody, sort of musty sort of experience along with the flavors. And it just gives you something that you just don't drink every single day. This is really something for an 11%er as well. None of these flavors, none of this sort of combination would make you suspect that you're drinking an 11% beer, wild ale, but just wonderful. Yeah, light, bright, thin, tart, sour. And then I get only slight suggestions of the vanilla actually in the palate. It's a smooth sort of smoky vanilla, smoky, oaky sort of ride to it. Almost like you're drinking something out of a wine barrel and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, and along that same lines, you do get that tart, sort of dry, semi-dry finish to the beer that I think helps play along with that vibe of barrel aging and oak sort of aging. Do you know what I mean? Abso-freaking-lutely. Overall, yes, I think it washes through. I get a nice sort of woody, earthy sort of aftertaste. I get the tart cherries pretty much all the way through. Nose, front sort of the mouth, back of the mouth, aftertaste, tart cherries. This is awesome. I absolutely dig this to no end. These beers aren't very common. I think it's one of those, it's not a trendy sort of beer to brew. Can be a little on the expensive side. Not everybody's brewing them, but everybody should. This is a really enjoyable beer. If you guys are around the South Towns and you have access to Roar Brew Works, go get them. I mean, there are a ton of them there. So absolutely yes for me. I like this a lot. I'm trying to see if there's anything else on this label. No. I don't know. That's about it for me, guys. My first beer review in a month or so. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe a little bit more. I really enjoyed this beer. I hope you guys can tell that. And I also really appreciate you guys watching and clicking and doing all the thumbs up and all the comments and stuff like that. I like that stuff. So I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.